The Slime Kingdom is expanding their borders. They've ransacked my mushroom village and stole our sacred mushroom. Our samurai warriors managed to chase off the slime forces for now, leaving our island destroyed and vulnerable. This is hopefully 100 days as a mushroom in hardcore Minecraft. On day 1, I spawned in from a mushroom spore that came from the sacred mushroom, and saw the last of the samurai fighting off our slime invaders. Suddenly, a gray chef came out of the water and began chasing me. I ran away as fast as I could. One hit and I'd be his next meal. I quickly hid behind a mushroom tree and harvested a few logs, then crafted a mushroom boat and sailed off as the chef looked down in disappointment. I sailed away from the fighting and fled to the mainland for safety. I didn't get much sleep that night since it rained and scary creatures came out. Day 2, I wandered about looking for food. I found a village and the slime villagers didn't seem to notice me, or at least didn't see me as a threat. So I started grabbing some of their crops when a giant slime cube decided he was hungry too. I moved my stumpy little legs as fast as I could and ran to a nearby river, jumping onto a lily pad and floated across as the farmer stopped his slime from leaving. Once I was safely on the other side, I realized the lily pad was actually alive. I thanked it for saving me and tried to find my way home. The next day, I accepted I was lost, so I started climbing a mountain to look around, when a blue creature flew up to me, gave me a wooden sword, and pointed me toward where she last saw other mushrooms. I excitedly ran in that direction, ready to fight for my village if I had to. On day 4, I found some more food from some prickly bushes, but then a fox stole some from me and scurried away. I chased after it, but it was caught by a pack of wolves. This world is so dangerous for baby mushrooms. I hope I grow soon. That night, I managed to find a safe hiding place and waited for the wolves to leave. Day 5, I found the mushroom she mentioned, but it was not my village. They were friendly though and led me through their flowery land, introducing me to a swarm of bees.
Hello there! I haven't seen you before.
Hi, who are you?
Amazing! You talk too? I'm the queen bee.
And what are you doing here?
I've traveled far to explore these lands. I heard there are many creatures becoming sentient like me. Where are you from?
I was just born from my island's sacred mushroom.
Ooh, could I examine it?
Well, it was stolen and I don't know how to get home.
Sounds like you should be more careful. Sorry, now's not the time for jokes. Follow me.
Okay, to where?
You said an island, right? My ship is docked in this direction. Hopefully you can walk the shoreline and find your boat or village.
Hopefully the Slime Kingdom left a village for me to find.
They are not the most welcoming people. Here, this should help. Say, have you seen any grey mushrooms in your travels?
Thank you. No, sorry.
The others said you can ride grey mushrooms.
Oh, that sounds so fun.
Hopefully we cross paths again, and I'll let you know if I find them.
And with that, I left my new friends as I continued my search for home. The following day, I found the ship the Queen Bee spoke of, and one of her bee knights. But there were more of those grey people too. I kept my distance and saw the chef from before. How could she be traveling with them? I watched as he wandered into the forest with a barrel. I went to go confront him, but then a similar creature emerged from the barrel and they both ran off. Confused with what just happened, I stumbled into the open, but the others didn't seem to pay me any attention, so I walked right past them and went to go find my village. That night, I found my home, destroyed, burned, and covered in slime. The monks greeted me, gave me some mushroom stew, and a place to rest for the night. On the morning of day 7, I woke up feeling bigger and stronger. I grew overnight. Now it was time to check the rest of the village. While the buildings were destroyed, the villagers were okay. However, there were no samurai. They were all still gone, and other baby sporelings were missing too. I decided to go back out to look for them, this time not straying too far from the village. Unfortunately, a slime patrol was scouting the area. I tried my best to fight them off, but they just laughed at my wooden sword and told me to scram. So I spent the next 2 days down in a cave mining iron. Undead creatures dwell down here, making it hard to traverse through their home and collect ore. I also ran into another monster that tried to blow me up. Eventually, I gathered enough iron for armor and tools. And on day 10, I emerged from a different entrance to the cave and found the missing sporelings. They all hid as we heard a roar in the distance. They spoke of a winged beast roaming the skies and terrorizing the slime villages. Eventually, I got them to calm down and led them back to the village. The next morning, we made it back to find a few of the samurai, including a master samurai returned to the village from chasing off the slime forces.
Great! The sporelings have found their way back home.
Hello, master. Where are the other samurai?
The commander has told us to return home and led the others in pushing the slime back further.
Will they return soon? I saw a slime patrolled nearby and...
They should have returned by now. I fear the worst.
What do we do now?
We must restore our town, our homes, and this temple. We also need to start training up more samurai and prepare for another attack. We are resilient, and we can get our sacred mushroom back.
What can we do to help?
We'll need lots of bone meal to grow mushrooms for our building. Our food supply must be replenished, and I'll begin training anyone willing tomorrow.
We spent the rest of this day cleaning up our island, removing all the debris and slime and making room for new builds. As the sun rose on day 12, the master samurai began training me and several other mushrooms. We learned how to fight like samurai and began sparring one another. After that, I helped replant some wheat fields so we could breed more mushroom cows. The next few days were were dedicated to collecting bone meal. I fought some skeletons down in the caves with not much luck, but when I returned home to ask the monks if there was a better way, they had just finished fixing the nether portal. They sent me into the nether where I faced a lot more skeletons and collected blocks of bone from whatever creatures used to roam these soul sand valleys. When I returned to the village, I began growing and harvesting more mushroom trees. Day 16, I started by grabbing some wheat to replenish my food, making sure to replant what I harvested. Then I decided to build a home for myself at the end of one of the paths, planting a mushroom and growing it into a giant cluster of mushrooms with 3 main towers. And just kidding, the villagers actually helped me build it, and we added 2 pens outside for the cows. On the inside, we added a dining room, a place to prepare food, a place to drink tea, and an area for crafting. Then going up these stairs leads to the lookout and lighthouse tower, which is next to the back tower, where you'll find an extra storage room accessible from a ladder. And the last ladder leads up to my bedroom with a desk and a bed. Then the night of day 17, I let all the baby mushrooms stay inside my house. With the island in better condition and the sporelings safe, the monks gave me a mat to sleep on, and I set out on day 18 to see if I could find any of the missing samurai. Before long, I ran into that patrol party from before. This time, I was ready for a fight. I ran in and surprised them with a sneak attack. The first slime fell, and the other knights were quick to retaliate. I tried my best to fight them off and evade their attacks, but then I ran into a giant slime soldier. Everyone stopped in their tracks, and they put a bag over my head. The next day, we arrived to a nearby village where I was put in a cage alongside a mushroom samurai. Before I could say anything, we heard another roar in the distance. This time it was closer. Then the mayor tried to calm everyone down.
My dear slime citizens, there is no need to worry. Our fearless queen will handle the dragon that plagues our lands.
He unlocked my cage and brought me out in front of everyone.
Look, we've captured the mushroom rebels and put a stop to their little uprising.
Uprising? You attacked us unprovoked. We were just defending ourselves.
Don't listen to this propaganda. The queen is conscripting all able-bodied slime to join her ranks and stop all the enemies that threaten us.
So you're just gonna leave this village defenseless?
The threat is not here. Put this one back in his cage.
As the knights were escorting me back to my cage, I took a key off one of them.
As long as everyone pays their taxes, we will all be safe and prosperous.
And with that rousing speech, the mayor left. I waited until night to break us out and grab our weapons. Then we took out the guards and made our escape. The following morning, we stumbled upon a slime farm and found the farmers had just fed their slime cubes. We killed the slime and they dropped the food. It was a bit gross, but we were starving. As we traveled home, the samurai said he didn't know what happened to the others. They put him on display to raise slime morale and took the others somewhere else. That evening, we arrived to the village and the elders greeted us with some delicious mushroom stew. As I left my house day 21, the monks all greeted me with a mushroom cow. Supposedly, the dragon was spotted flying close to the island while I was gone. They needed someone to deliver the cow to the dragon, but didn't want to risk losing any more samurai. And my heroic actions unfortunately stood out to them. How an offering was to be made in hopes of sating its hunger. We traveled to the last known location of the dragon and searched the surrounding areas, finding some familiar faces. They noticed me now, but to my surprise weren't hostile. I guess since the chef wasn't with them. Anyway, these illagers were sent by their leader, the Arch Evoker, to spy on the Slime Queen, assess the situation, and report back to him. Before I could ask anything else, a roar rang out in the distance. The illagers watched in confusion as I ran toward the cry of whatever beast they just heard. Day 24, I ended up back at the village where I was imprisoned, but it had been completely scorched. There were no survivors in sight, only the dragon resting in the ashes of the village it burned down. As I forced myself to walk toward the dragon, another one swooped down out of the sky with a rider on its back. I pulled out my sword, but she laughed and threw a potion at my cow and said to come closer. I released the cow and slowly approached as she said we share a common enemy. That's when she threw down a slime knight helmet and said the mushrooms needn't worry about her dragons. Instead, I should take my new warrior home. With that, she took off again with her dragons. Both confused and relieved, I turned around to find my cow had been turned into a mushroom minotaur, a shroomatar, along with some slime knights that waited for the dragons to leave. The shroomatar sprung into action, quickly defeating our aggressors in combat. Then, I began my journey home with this product of witchcraft. The next morning, I awoke in the cave we spent the night in. The shroomatar was not a dream, but he seemed shorter. Actually, I finally grew into a full-grown mushroom. I excitedly left the cave, and we found a nearby field with gray mushrooms roaming around. And as we approached, the queen bee rode up to us on one.
Greetings! You two must be the most unique mushrooms I've found so far.
Hello again. You don't remember me?
Oh, you're the one with the sacred mushroom? Have you recovered it?
Not yet, but I at least managed to find my way home.
That's good. I've got something that might cheer you up, but you'll need to leave anything that might scare them behind here.
Them? I left my shroomatar with her bee knight and we climbed a nearby hill. As we traveled to a cherry grove, she explained that she's not close to the illagers, but just hitched a ride with them on the way over. And something else about a mutual friend, I didn't catch his name. We camped under the stars in the peaceful grove that night, and at sunrise she showed me her latest science experiment. I learned how she finds fossils and brings them them back to life. Fortunately, the dinosaurs she resurrected were very friendly and pretty adorable. We spent the day playing with them and found a new type of seed. Day 27, we made it back to our companions and she let me keep her saddled mushroom. Then we parted ways and headed home. The following evening, we swam to the shore of the village. Everyone was surprised to see me return at all, let alone with 2 new companions, which they were really hesitant to welcome, so they had to stay in a fenced-in area by my house for now. Day 29 was spent working with the farmers to collect and replant wheat, which the shroomatar loved to eat. Then we tended to the mushroom cows and collected more stew. The next few days were spent leading my people in rebuilding our village. The monks gave me treated wood to build a ceremonial gate to the island, and along the pathway we added streetlights with alternating colors that illuminate the way to the old temple grounds. Then we built an open barn concept for the cows to come and go as they please, doing what they wish. Anyway, heading up the hill leads to the town center complete with a bell and some mushroom shrines per the monk's request. Next, the villagers all built themselves houses in front of my house and on the other hill beside the blacksmith and the town hall. Lastly, the samurai wanted a place overlooking the temple grounds with a bigger sparring ring, so we designed an open concept tea tavern for them to rest during their breaks. The next morning, I woke to sounds of shouts and battle. I ran outside to see more slime invaders dare to step foot on our island. I quickly released the shroomatar and ran to help a fallen samurai. He gave me his katana, so I jumped into the fray. We fought the slime back. Before they could escape, I flanked the remaining troops and managed to cut them down. And after the battle, my sensei approached.
You show promise with the blade, and you have proved yourself most resourceful.
Thank you, Sensei. I borrowed a katana for the fight. I was just...
Keep it, and take this armor. It's time you prove you are ready to be a samurai.
Really? What do you need?
Reinforcements? Let's take a walk. The invader's captain dropped a letter, commanding him to imprison us in a nearby stronghold with the others. I'm hoping that means our samurai brethren are being held there, and hopefully our sacred mushroom.
So we need reinforcements to take the stronghold. Where are we going to get those?
The nether. Take this bag of coin and head to the boom shroom tower. Upon arrival, prove yourself as a worthy ally. Give them the coin and they'll join us. The monks can tell you how to get there.
Yes, Sensei.
Oh, and let your companion roam the island. He's a good protector.
The monks gave me a bow and some arrows, along with directions, and off I went, venturing deep into the nethery depths. I tried to avoid enemies to save time, but ran into some terrifying floating creatures that all set me on fire. I ran for my life and hid to heal up. After evading them, I ran into a larger, more explosive version, which fell to my bow. On day 34, the nether erupted into chaos, as I stumbled upon rival tribes all fighting each other. So I hid and bumped into some new mushrooms.
Hey, watch it.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see you there.
Another mushroom. Can you get us out of here?
Please, we've traveled so far.
The piglins are fighting throughout the nether and no one's trying to stop it.
Alright, let's calm down. Come with me. The monks can help you find a home in the overworld.
The overworld?
It's a more friendly place than here, as long as you avoid the slime.
Got it. Thank you.
We all snuck away. I pointed them toward my portal and continued on to Boomshroom Tower. I arrived the next day and slowly approached as I admired the building. But suddenly, I was quickly surrounded by blue mushrooms, who all appeared out of nowhere.
It's been a long time since one of your kind came around here. It must be dire for a samurai to grace us with their presence.
It is. I'm sorry, I didn't even know mushrooms lived in the nether.
Seems about right. Your elders don't normally agree with how we handle things. Did you bring the coin?
Yes, here you go. Some of our soldiers have been captured and...
That's not our problem. You can leave now.
Wait, then give that back.
Look around. You're outnumbered. Last chance to leave.
If the slime conquer us, what's stopping them from coming here?
Slime? Let's talk inside. It's not safe out here.
As we entered their walls, I saw a nether portal surrounded with fallen slime troops, and someone putting lava around the portal. Then I noticed some piglins with blue mushrooms.
Fungus throwers? They hold no allegiance to other piglins.
What do you know of the slime?
They accidentally spawned a portal within our walls, ending up on the wrong side of my blade. Now they have a camp on the other side of the portal. We're in a stalemate.
If I help you with this, will you and your people help us?
Fine. Take this pickaxe and some of the boom shrooms. My men will lead you to the nearby portal we got working again. Defeat the slime, destroy their portal, and burn their camp while you're at it. But get some food first.
That night, I got to speak with other Boomshroom ninjas as we ate by the fire. Then the next morning, I set out with a few other ninjas to another nearby portal. On the way, we ran into a piglin merchant who was surrounded by feral-looking piglins. I ran in to fight and quickly caught on fire, but he just wanted us to trap them. Turns out his king was experimenting on these piglins to make them stronger. They ate some magma nether shroom stew and turned feral. He had just left Boomshroom Tower. The fungus throwers there said a healing potion would do the trick, but he still needs melons to make one. I made a note of that and we continued on. We eventually made it to to a restored ruined nether portal and went to the overworld. Then we marched toward the slime camp. Day 37, we scouted out the encampment and counted the guards. Next, we began to take out one guard at a time, trying to go unnoticed. Everything was going well until a slime patrol returned and attacked the ninjas. I quickly responded with boom shrooms, which weakened our foes and gave us an edge over the last of the slime knights. After the battle, we looted the camp and I found melons, among other foods. Then the ninjas went through the portal and I quickly destroyed it with my new pickaxe. As the sun began to set, I left the camp behind as it became engulfed with flames. On the way back to the tower on day 38, I delivered the melons and he quickly crafted a potion, throwing it on the feral piglins. After a few moments, the piglins returned to normal. The merchant thanked me with mind shrooms he got from Boomshroom Tower and said mushrooms can't set them off. But as I was leaving, he warned of a different corrupted piglin, one worse than the others, that he tried and failed to stop, losing his sword in the process. The following day, I returned to the tower to find the portal was completely missing.
A job well done. With our tower secure, we will help you free your comrades.
Thank you. We need to act fast. I'll take anyone you could spare.
You have my blade and the best of my men.
Alright, let's go. After leaving the tower, we encountered the corrupted piglin the merchant spoke of. His sword was still stuck in the monster's back. I told the others to stay behind me and faced it head on. It was very aggressive and took lots of hits. As I was about to call for reinforcements, the creature fell. After that, I was done with the nether. So we went to the fixed portal and spent the next 2 days traveling to my village through the overworld. Unfortunately, that meant dealing with more slime. A patrol party found us, accompanied by another giant knight. I ran in to face him as the other knights just watched, and the ninjas seemed to disappear. The confrontation turned into a duel. He was well armored and his spear gave him a longer reach. I tried to evade him and land hits when I could, until he finally fell to my blade. Then with the ninjas presumably gone, I went to face the other knights. I forgot they deal with things a little differently than samurai. Then we saw 2 more knights returning to camp, so I planted a mine shroom and we all hid. The mine shroom worked really well, so we continued on. We arrived home day 42 and was greeted by my sensei.
You have truly proven yourself worthy of being a samurai. Please bow. You are hereby inducted into our ranks.
Thank you, sensei. Now, what's the plan?
With our commander missing, someone needs to lead the attack.
I assumed you would.
Someone needs to stay to protect the village, and I could train more recruits while I do that.
So maybe the ninja's leader then.
Our samurai will not easily follow his commands. I think you can lead our forces to victory.
Me? Okay, I will try my best.
Free the commander, and he can take over from there. Have everyone rest and resupply, then head out in the morning.
Yes, sensei. After that, I showed the ninjas how to milk mushroom cows and set up camp for them to stay the night. The next morning, I gathered everyone together. United, we had a formidable force. Now I just had to lead them. A samurai scout found the stronghold while I was in the nether, so we followed him through the mainland until we arrived to where our troops were being held. Upon arrival, we set up a temporary camp nearby and planned the attack. Once the sun sets, the ninjas and I would sneak inside, taking out any guards in the way. Then we would find and free the prisoners, arming them with weapons. Next, we opened the front gate from the inside, letting in the samurai and the Shumatar. By then, the guards would know what's happening, but we'd have the best chance at fighting them all off. And with the last of the slime forces routed, we could claim the fortress as our own. The plan worked perfectly, and we found the sacred mushroom locked away in the fortress. However, the commander was still missing. The rescued prisoners overheard he was sent to a secret slide or tunnel or something, so I sent 2 scouts to follow the slime who escaped and hopefully find the commander. Then I thanked the ninjas and sent them on their way. I left a few samurai to guard the fortress and led everyone back to the village. Day 48, the village welcomed us back with cheers and celebration as I put the sacred mushroom back where it belonged and grabbed a little piece of it to give to the queen bee. We had a feast intended to the rescued prisoners. The elders were very concerned about the slime's reaction to losing a fortress, so I planted some mine shrooms around the island to grant us more protection. The next day, the monks pulled me aside. They called on the sacred mushroom to grant more sporelings, but 5 of the spores got whisked away by the ocean breeze. With the temple destroyed, they don't have a safe place to spawn, so it was up to me to find them and bring them home. I began sailing down the coast searching for the little ones, and found one not too far away. I sailed to smaller islands the following day and found another one safe, then found 2 more together cornered by some wolves. I guess it was better to fight me than snack on the sporelings. That night, I found the last sporling stuck in a tree. On day 51, I returned the sporelings home safe and sound. The monks began training them, and their leader led me to my reward. They had collected special resources to rebuild the temple with, and recruited some volunteers who would help me reconstruct it. After several days, the temple was complete, giving the sacred mushroom a safe place to produce spores and giving the monks a home. We started by repairing the foundation addition and adding a fenced-in porch with benches, all illuminated by hanging shroom lights. Then, as you enter the temple, you are greeted with 3 paths. Going straight leads to the magically protected inner sanctum, where the monks gather to tend to the sacred mushroom. Going right leads to the beds where the monks and the guards will sleep. And going left leads to the infirmary where the monks can tend to the sick or wounded. Next, we added 2 extra floors for the samurai to stay in and decorate how they like. Then we included 2 extra doors in the back, leading to the temple's garden, where we surrounded the meditation tree with different shrines, ponds, a training area for the sporelings, and a place for all types of mushrooms to thrive. And lastly, I added a gate to the opposite side of town with a pathway leading to the nether portal. And with the temple complete, I went to find the samurai I rescued. As the monks and I tended to the rescued prisoners in the new temple, one of the scouts I sent to follow the slime burst through the door. Soon after leaving the fortress, they were ambushed. He was captured and taken to a nearby village. The other scout didn't make it. He overheard their plan to take back the stronghold and barely managed to escape to tell us. My sensei said he would send reinforcements as soon as possible, so off I went to check on our new outpost. I arrived early the next morning and found 4 samurai safely standing guard with no slime in sight. We prepared for an attack the best we could. But before too long, slime knights were spotted in the distance. The general of the Slime Queen's army introduced himself and his royal guards, and then requested our surrender before quickly withdrawing when we said no. And before too long, a whole company of slime were at our doorstep. The general first sent in villagers that we shot at from above until they scattered. Then the knights came in and started building ladders over the walls. We fought them back and managed to keep them out. That night, the slime retreated and our reinforcements arrived. The second day, the general threw everything he had at us. We had archers shoot down from the wall while most of us fought outside the gate. We soon had to retreat inside to bottleneck their forces at the entrance, and eventually they pulled back. But then the royal guards came in. We had suffered some losses, so we closed the gate with me and the Shroomatar outside. We fought valiantly, and even though we were outnumbered, we defeated the royal guards. Both exhausted and battered, we watched the general and the biggest slime I've seen so far call their men to retreat and led them away for now. I told those still standing to care for the wounded, and I followed the retreating slime myself. I needed to prevent another attack and find out where the commander was taken. They led me to a village not too far away. I snuck into their messenger post and looked through their stuff. There was nothing there about the commander, but I did find a letter addressed to the queen from the general requesting reinforcements and explosives. So I quickly forged the letter to tell the slime queen that they had already taken the fortress back. Then, as I was sneaking out, I noticed the illagers were spying on the village. I stood there in confusion long enough for the guards to notice me. Soon several guards were on my tail, so I sprinted into a new direction to lead them away from the illagers. I managed to lose them and hid for the night. Day 60, as I journeyed home, I found a new type of mushroom being harassed by some wolves. I ran in and made quick work of them, saving the seemingly helpless shroom, who in turn gave me some food as thanks. But then we were interrupted by an arrow from a large slime patrol. The other mushroom gestured for me to run and then turned to face them. As I made my escape, I heard a loud explosion, so I went back to find everyone replaced by a huge crater. Once I made it back to town, I had to prepare the island for more attacks. I hopefully bought time with the forged letter, time I did not want to waste. I requested help in building the town defenses, but the elders thought it best to spend the time training the villagers to fight, so I was on my own for building the defenses. The caves below our island are rich with andesite, so I gathered plenty to build a wall. Since the slime would bring explosives, there wasn't much of a point building it too high. It just needed to slow them down and look good. I tried to build the entrance to look like 2 dragons protecting the gate, and behind the wall were steps for archers to safely shoot from. Then I finished by building 2 guard towers overlooking the mainland. Once the town was secure, it was time to check on the fortress we took over. However, when leaving the village, I found the illagers waiting for me. They said they found a slider cave, and that's where the commander was being held. I quickly grabbed a few samurai and the Shroomatar to leave at once. If we can save the commander, he can lead our people to victory over the slime kingdom. The illagers needed help fighting whatever is in the slider cave, and if victorious, they know how to stop the slime from getting reinforcements. The morning of day 67, I found out why it was called the slider cave, as we were swarmed with little slime spiders. These little ones were easy to defeat, but as we traversed deeper into the cave, we faced bigger and bigger slime spiders. Eventually, we found a weird light green portal that the illagers said led to the slime's original universe. Before I could even comprehend that, a huge slider centaur entered and swarmed us with more sliders. Suddenly, several more illagers appeared out of thin air, joining the fight. While the others fought them off, I went for the centaur. It was a powerful creature that moved really fast. I could not evade it, so I slashed away at it and quickly chipped away at my health without flinching. Luckily, the illagers leader joined the fight, and together we defeated the abomination. After the dungeon was cleared, the illagers broke down the portal, stopping any more slime from being able to come through, and a samurai approached, throwing down the commander's armor. It was a bittersweet victory, but the war wasn't over yet. As we retraced our steps, the illusioner told us the slime queen was a witch, as they had feared. Their archievoker is trying to stop witches from all kinds of universes from taking over our own. I started to debate whether I should tell them about the witch that made my Shroom, but luckily we found the way out of the cave on day 68. The illagers left to see how far the slime kingdom spreads, and I led my band of warriors back home. When we arrived home the next day, I sorrowfully presented the commander's armor to the elders. We held a ceremony honoring all who had fallen in battle so far. After that, the elders approached me.
Thank you for your search.
Of course. Now, what will we do without a commander?
All the samurai that have fought by your side would be honored to follow you into battle.
Wait, are you saying I should be the commander?
You're a natural leader and have dealt with the slime more than anyone else.
I don't deserve that honor.
No, leaders do. The best leaders understand they don't and humbly serve their people, answering the call for leadership. Now, will you answer that call?
I will. The elders gathered everyone in front of the temple as I donned the commander's armor. Everyone agreed I was to lead our clan to victory over our enemies, and the role was accompanied with a master katana and bow. Wasting no time, I took the next few days bringing the fight to the slime kingdom. I took a small group of samurai to take out smaller encampments nearby. The less foothold they have in the region, the better. We also stumbled upon another slime fortress, but it had been reduced to ashes, probably by those dragons, which seem to have disappeared for a while now. In the fortress, we found the two chefs using what was left of the kitchen to cook. They slowly and awkwardly left their dish behind as we watched. I don't think they know we worked with their allies yet, but at least we got some free food. While traveling back on day 73, we came across that mayor from before, this time with only a few guards. After we defeated them, I turned to the mayor, who threw his dagger at me.
Please don't hurt me.
I want answers.
Okay, anything.
How do you suggest we end this war?
It won't end where my queen lives, but she's a powerful sorceress.
Then how do I stop her?
She's made powerful slime weapons. If you get hold of one, that might give you a chance.
Alright, you're free to go.
Wait, really? That's all you wanted?
The queen will wonder how you lost your guards and how you escaped. I'll let her deal with you.
That is a fate worse than your blade.
I let him run off and we went on our way. And upon return home, day 74, I gathered some wheat to make bread and feed the cows while getting some more mushrooms too. The next morning, I saw the queen bee across the water and sailed over to her.
Hello again.
Hey, we recovered the sacred mushroom. Here's a piece I've been saving for you.
Thank you.
Everything okay?
I need your help. Our ship has been stolen by pirates. They defeated my other guard and we tracked them to a cove. I need to get it back before the illagers find out.
I'll help. Show me the way. I got them a mushroom boat and off we sailed. So why are you so interested in our sacred mushroom?
Every species deserves to thrive like both of ours do. I'm hoping this sample helps unlock the key to making living things sentient.
Whoa, that would be so cool. After a while of sailing, we made it to the cove, and sure enough, there was the ship surrounded by drowned pirates. I jumped out of my boat and pelted them with arrows. Soon they all swarmed me, and it became overwhelming. I ran around and took down one pirate after another. In the chaos, I heard the queen yell something, but I didn't realize what she meant until after the last pirate fell. A slime patrol tried to take this opportunity to overwhelm me, but it looked like the sponges in the cove absorbed them once stepped on. Without hesitation, I gathered all the sponges I could to use for defending my home. Then the queen thanked me and we sailed our separate ways. The slime must have been spying on us and knew I was away, because when I returned home, my village was under attack. With better defenses, more trained samurai, and the Shroom, they were able to hold off the invasion force until I made it back. I ran in and drew the attention to myself. Then my sensei led everyone else in attacking the slime from behind, and we fought off the remaining forces. But more were on their way. This time with explosives. I told everyone to fall back and regroup at the temple, while I placed down sponges along the shoreline. The sponges actually worked on the first landing party, absorbing them all and scattering their armor everywhere. However, the second group blew up the sponges and pressed forward. I quickly shot down those who had explosives and then ordered the clan to charge. We clashed against the opposing force and defeated the last of them. After the fight, we cleaned up the island and sunk their ships. And at sunrise on day 80, I rode out to check on the fortress. If they attacked our island, then they must have attacked there too. I arrived to find our outpost utterly obliterated. I frantically searched the wreckage for survivors, and after finding none, I headed back home. Day 82, I spent training the next generation of samurai. Several of them showed great promise, while a few others, well, did not. But they'll make good farmers. The training was interrupted though when two samurai brought the queen bee before me. It's okay, she's friendly. What's up?
While researching, I found something that could be useful for your people.
Really? What's that?
A way to make your gear stronger.
We don't normally use enchantments.
The sacred mushroom can grant custom improvements, similar to enchantments, but really just passing on its own abilities.
I guess that would be okay then. We set up bookshelves in the sacred room of the temple, and the monks decided only the commander should receive this special power from the sacred mushroom, giving me the mantle of the red mushroom, the protector of the people. My first decision as the red mushroom was to have all samurai in training tested to become full-fledged samurai. The queen bee and I left the next day. She suggested I try turning the slime villages against the slime queen. While exploring, I found a new slime village, luckily with no knights occupying it, but the the villagers were not welcoming, saying I should go speak to the other rebels, and nearby was a camp of slime rebels. They were tired of the queen's harsh rule, but the villagers were too scared to revolt. But with the rebel leader and I standing together, along with my account of how the other village was needlessly burned down, they rallied to our cause and chased off a returning slime patrol. Day 85, while discussing an assault on the slime capital, a villager informed us the general had arrived to the village. We snuck up to find the general showing off a captured ninja, and he had convinced the villagers to lay down their arms. He then walked into a building that erupted from the inside, completely demolishing it. And of course, in the chaos, the ninja leader emerged from darkness and freed his comrade. We followed them as they left and were soon surrounded.
Are you their prisoner?
No, they're rebels.
I doubt we can trust them.
We fought off the slime knights together. They're going to help me scout out the slime capital.
Fine. We'll join you as well and keep an eye on them.
We spent day 86 traveling, and I told the ninjas about how we use the sponges to protect our island, while the rebel leader led us to the slime capital's outer wall. Upon arrival, we spent the next few days spying on each gate to see which would be ideal to breach with our combined forces. When we found the best gate for our attack, we also found the illusioner there, and he had the same objective. After convincing everyone to join me in taking the capital, I sent the leaders off to gather their forces and meet me at my island. It took about 2 days to travel back to my village on foot, because I accidentally left my gray steed at the rebel base. And on the night of day 91, I was very relieved to find my village safe and sound. The following day, I gathered all the samurai together and we collected supplies for the coming siege. And that night, the queen bee returned.
I've made a breakthrough. Well, mostly.
Hello there. Mostly?
My serum works, but it will turn whatever you use it on into a monster.
I see. Can it tell friend from foe?
It will protect its creator and his allies. I recommend using it on a mushroom when in need of help.
Will do. I appreciate it.
Oh, and here, some health potions too.
Thank you. Once she left, I got some bone meal, mycelium, and a mushroom. And on day 93, our ragtag team of reinforcements showed up, including my gray steed and the illager chef who denied coming here before and traveling with another chef. We all gathered together with the elders to discuss a plan of attack. During this meeting, the monks thought it fitting to bestow on me the commander's ceremonial cap. And after that meeting, I instructed the remaining samurai in training to help their sensei protect the island while we were gone. Everyone set out at dawn the next day. I led my samurai, the Shroomtar, ninjas, illagers, and the rebels all toward the slime capital's outer gate. Upon arrival, the gate had a few added troops from last time, with 2 knights standing guard outside the gate, and they did not stand a chance against the ninja leader's new sponge weapon, and the gate couldn't handle his boom shrooms. The rest of the guards rushed out to respond and were quickly overwhelmed. We raced through the gate and made sure no slime escaped. Then we all pressed on, ready to siege the capital. We didn't find any slime on the way. That's because the slime queen knew we were coming and had gathered all her forces to her castle. I swiftly ran out in front of her army, and they all watched in confusion as I quickly placed down mycelium and a mushroom, growing it into a tree, then hurled the queen bee's potion at it. Within seconds, a giant mushroom monstrosity stood before me. Both sides just stood and stared as it roared. Charge! The rebellion excitedly rushed into battle against the slime kingdom, led by me and the new monstrosity. Swords clattered, arrows flew, and yelling ensued as the battle raged on, both sides sustaining many casualties. Amidst all the fighting, I saw the slime queen watching from above. She turned to flee, so I sprinted toward her castle, joined by all the other leaders. We breached the wall and were stopped by some royal guards. The rebel leader and the illusioner told us to keep on going. As the illusioner multiplied and more fighting ensued, we chased after the queen, and when the ninja leader and I turned the corner, we were both really surprised to see the general had survived that explosion, and he was very angry about it. The ninja leader pulled out both his weapons and told me to continue on as they clashed. I rushed out the back of the castle to find the slime queen running off from her beloved champion. Now it was just me and him. He waited for me to attack, and when I did, he responded with his giant sword. After trading a few hits, I tried to fall back and use my bow, so he responded by shooting slime balls at me. One hit me and slowed me down. I tried my best to dodge his volley. Once I could run again, I leaped at him and tried to land more hits. He was my strongest foe yet, and I could barely stay out of his reach. I kept slicing away at him until he finally toppled over defeated, dropping his epic slime sword. And when I picked it up, it changed to red. With the champion defeated, I ran to find the slime queen, convinced she had already escaped. Fortunately, she was stopped by the yellow witch from before. As I approached, she ran at me and fell with a single swing of my sword. The yellow witch then told me to keep herself a secret from the illagers, and she would let me keep my Shroomtar. So I raced back to the castle to find the slime capital was ours, but we had lost lots of troops, including the monstrosity. And in one of the dungeons was that mayor from before. I took his monocle and gave it to the slime rebel leader, who hoped for democracy and peace between our peoples. After thanking the ninjas for their aid, I watched the illusioner send off a messenger parrot to let the archevoker know of the victory. The rebels and the ninjas went their own ways, so now it was just my men and the illagers traveling back to my village. And on day 100, we arrived home and got the injured to the temple. The Queen Bee brought their ship and we had a celebratory feast, where the illager chef apologized for trying to eat me. Then we were interrupted by that messenger parrot from before. The Archivoker responded saying a mysterious and magical rift had opened up, spitting out an odd-looking illager, and they were to return home at once. I quickly climbed the temple and watched as they sailed off, and that's how I survived 100 days as a mushroom in hardcore Minecraft. Thanks so much to Glitzcore, Dr. Duke, Blockdown, and Mudflaps for helping me make this video, and to you for watching. If you enjoyed, please remember to like and subscribe. Thanks again!